All right, friends, I put together this video to show you how you can track and analyze how you're delivering specifically to Gmail because it's not a very transparent, easy thing to do without knowing how you should be doing it. So to begin, I sent a newsletter out not too long ago, but about the new sender requirements that are coming in this year that have already been put in place. So, number one, make sure these are there. I'll have a link down below this video that you can go read this up if you haven't done it. But basically, breaking down that you have to have SPF DKIM, demark needs to be set up. Big thing is spam rates. So you need to have your spam rates under 0.3%. The industry standard we've always followed has been 0.1%. So they're giving us quite a bit of wiggle room. So you want to be under, I would say, 2.2%, just so you're safe, to make sure there's no issues, 100% no issues. But always shoot for under 0.1%, since that was always the industry standards to begin with. But if you see 0.2, even tweaking that 0.3 every once in a while, don't freak out. And then the one-click unsubscribe, which I've also talked about below here in this, which if you need to look into it, go ahead and click the link below and make sure all this is done first. That'd be number one thing, right? Now, if you look at Gmail or your ESP, depending on what you have, this is Big Mailer here. This is for our today's flashback newsletter that we have. And they do a great thing here. They have engagement by domain, which breaks down how your delivery looks between each domain group or domain itself. And you can see Gmail here doing great, right? 61% open rate, 7.1% click-through rates. What you will notice too, there's never ever going to be anything here. No complaints with soft bounces, no hard bounces. Why? Because Gmail does not have a feedback loop. Where Yahoo, AOL, Comcast, all these other people have feedback loops, Gmail does not. So you'll never know if someone complains with Gmail, which is a big deal when you're trying to stay under a certain complaint threshold and make sure people that are signing up for your stuff are people that want your newsletter. So to be able to monitor that, you have to be inside of Google Postmaster Tools. Basically, we had that set up before. I've gone through it some, but to give you an insight here, if you're in here, if you log in, you first will come here. You'll see this little new dashboard thing. This is great. This goes back to making sure you're set up. It'll take you here, right? It'll show you if you're compliant across the board. So SPF DKIM compliant, header line compliant, DMARC compliant, encryption compliant, all this kind. This one here, the reported spam rate, user reported spam rate, is a big one. If you're in danger of having issues, it'll be red. It'll tell you, you got to work on something because your complaints are way too high, basically. So you can also monitor it here if you're in your domain. You'll see this thing spam rate here. You can click through all these things, but spam rate, this is where you want to monitor it, right? 0%, 0.1. You can see here, just straight, very nice, no issues, last 30 days. Similar, right? Max is 0.1, occasionally most of it's 0. I mean, this is looking great. And then, the last 3 months, again, look at a snapshot, again, it's 0.1 or 0, 0.1 or 0, a couple 0.2s here, but nothing that's going to cause an issue over long because it's consistently well below their threshold. And if you click here, you can click domain reputation, and you'll see that our domain reputation always been high. This is where you want to shoot for. You always want to have high domain reputation for Gmail. If you get down to medium, God forbid you get down to low, definitely not bad. Then you're going to probably have to tighten up your Gmail segments to try to get back up to high. So if you look back here, I want to share with you how we monitor this. Here on ESPs that don't have beautiful broken down reporting like this. By domain, you can create segments like I show here. This is in Beehive. This is our Grits and Gear publication where we track the last 24 hours of people that we sent to from Gmail, opened Gmail, and have clicked on Gmail. So this will give us the numbers that we need to see if we're having any deliverability issues as far as open rates and click rates. So here you can see basically 6,000 cents, 4,000 clicks. So I know my open rate's well above 66%. That's 2/3 of the thing. So no issues here. If I saw this number drop down to 2,000 or less, I know there's probably an issue because I'm usually up in the 60% plus range, and now something's not delivering. Same here with the click-through rate. If I just do 300, break out a calculator. We do 300 divided by 6,058 should be about 5%. Yep, 4.95% click-through rate. Great. I'm always shooting to be over 3% click-through rate on these style of newsletters that I have. So everything's looking good here. So I can look at this, or whoever's managing your email can look at this on a daily basis to see if there's been any issues occurring with Gmail using segments like this. I'll have it broken down how you can set these segments up, what they look like for you in the newsletter if you want to copy them or whatnot. And then finally, if you are having issues with Gmail or any other domain, you don't want to just change stuff for the whole subscriber base, because if you're delivering fine on Yahoo, AOL, Comcast, whatever else is out there, why are you going to tighten up those if everything's fine? What if it's just Gmail? And vice versa, Gmail is doing fine, but you're having issues delivering on some other email providers, you should probably only tighten up there. So this is more of an advanced sending segment. I know I've talked in the past about base sending segments and very basic standard base sending segments to make sure you're keeping your list with only engaged people, you're getting rid of people that aren't engaging with your content to automatically fall off your list. That would be like a 60-30-10. It's like 60 days, people who've opened or clicked in the last, people who have clicked in the last 60 days, people who have opened in the last 30 days, or people who have been added to your list in the last 10 days. That's who you send to, and people will fall off if they're not fitting in one of those segments. This is a little bit more advanced. As your list grows and gets bigger, you are going to want to find ways to pinpoint your segments a little bit more thoroughly to make sure you're getting the most out of it and the most engagement out of it, to make sure you ensure high deliverability with the larger your list size gets, because obviously the bulkier the sends are going, the more emails that the ISP has to allow to get into their inboxes. So the more engagement you're showing them, the more those emails are going to be in the inbox. So you can see here that we have two clicker segments, an opener segment, added segment. So this clicker here is showing anyone who's clicked in the last 90 days, but has also opened the last 15. That's very important. So this is opening up the amount of subscribers based on click activity over a longer period of time, just to try to get them to come back in if they haven't engaged in a little while. But they still have to have opened in the last 15 days. If they haven't opened the last 15 days, then they would have fallen. They're going to fall off. But that means they're still around, kind of looking. We know they've clicked before. They're still kind of looking at our content. So we'll keep on doing that up to 90 days. This next one is 30 days clicked, or 30-day clicker. So they've clicked in the last 30 days. This is a standard clicker segment that we use to keep the engagement going. Openers. So again, this is anyone who's opened the last 15 days, but have been added in the last 90 days. So added in the last 9 days key, because this is what's going to control what I call opener bloat. So over time, especially as you get a bigger email list, you'll get a huge chunk of people that could be bots, window shoppers, whatever they are. They just have never clicked or engaged with your stuff at all. They always open, so it could be a bot. It could be some security thing at one of the mailbox provider, just triggering those automatic opens. But if not, it's just going to build up. And I've seen 20-30% on lists, 20-30% what we call bloat of just emails they're sending to that aren't really engaged. They're openers, so we think they're engaged, but they're not, because they've never clicked on anything. This can increase the cost of your sending, your ESPs. This can lower your engagement as far as your click-through rates, because you're sending to a lot more people that never clicked ever. So we do that. So if they haven't clicked basically in that 90-day window, they'll fall off, even if they're openers. And then we have an added segment, which is added in the last 10 days. So we have that, and then we have another one for non-Gmail. And then that's what we consider our base sending segment for a much larger list, to be able to pinpoint and control when there's issues. So if we have an issue, we might come here to our Gmail and we'll lower our clickers to, maybe a 60 plus 15 and a 15-day clicker to get only engaged people, lower our openers to, 30 days if they haven't, sorry, are added, 15 and 30 here. Like it's called tightening up. So we'll change these to lower the amount of people we're saying to, just more engaged it gets. The bigger these numbers get, the looser, we'll call it, the looser the segment gets. So this is how you can manage Gmail outside of the other domains. And like I said, we have ones where it gets more in depth, where we could have AOL, Yahoo domain group here. We'll have one for Comcast, and then we'll have one from others. So it just depends on who you have managing it. If you have someone really managing your data, analyzing it, and how your delivery is doing across all these domains. So it's more of an advanced thing. I don't recommend getting too deep into it if you don't know what you're doing. But if you do, or you have someone that does, this is a great thing to follow. I mean, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions about the Gmail delivery, go ahead and reply to this. Otherwise, I have all this information as well below and throughout this newsletter, going over the same stuff with screenshots. Thanks.